Hi guys, James's Car Trades here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am with the Hyundai or however they pronounce it these days, Ioniq 6. It's their latest electric car, based on the underpinnings of the very iconic Ioniq 5, but this one's in a much sleeker, much sexier body, and we'll get that in just a moment. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, guys, because it's those likes, comments and subscribes that do get the higher premium cars. We'll be going through the usual stuff today, going around the exterior tour, and then we'll dive right in. There's a lot to talk about on this car, lots of gadgets and toys, so stay tuned for that. So we're going to go around the exterior of the car first. Also, thank you very much for Hyundai for the loan of this car today. Going to start off with the headlights. So we're going to zoom right in. So like with the Ioniq 5, you also get a lot of pixels, sort of little square bits on here, which actually look really good to me. This car does come with the matrix headlights, and if you've seen my previous videos you'll know how they work, but for those who haven't, matrix lights, they adjust the beam pattern to basically not blind other drivers. You can also have your full beams on in this thing with people coming the other way, but then the computer in the headlights changes all the beam, blanks out the beams, so it doesn't actually dazzle other drivers, which is pretty good. 20-inch black wheels on this one. This is the first edition. It's more expensive than the other models, which have got more on it. Don't know how that works, but there we go. More pixely things on the door mirror. That's obviously your indicator. I quite like this. It's like a Jaguar F-Type with the sticky outy door handles. Obviously, because I'm standing next to the car's unlocked. But if I move away a bit, I might have to move away a bit further. You get the idea. If I move away, the car locks. Blacked out windows. Got your more wheels down there. This is the electric charging point, which is not opening. You press that and it opens electronically. You push it back in and it closes electronically. Now the back of the car, this is what I like the most. If I go down like this, the double spoiler arrangement, that does look very much like the rear end of a Porsche 911 whale fin, or whale tail as they call it. I think that looks pretty good. This is actually for my personal opinion at least, that is the sort of the sexiest part of the car, I think. Many thanks to that Porsche inspired rear end. More pixely lights here, which look really good in the dark. You've got more up here for your brake as well. Blacked out rear window, and obviously, guys, it is the same. Let's just move back a bit. There we go. It is the same on the other side. Moving back to the front. There guys, so that is your exterior tour. We shall now move right in to the interior. Right guys, so we are in the interior now. First thing you notice, actually, when you're sitting in the driver's seat, there's no Hyundai, as the adverts now say, badge. It's just this sort of LED square pixel arrangement thing, which changes colour depending on the sort of things you do with it. I quite like it. You know, I don't miss a badge. I mean, the keyring is the actual key fob is the Hyundai badge, or Hyundai badge. I'll stick that down there for the moment. But there we go. Yeah, so we'll go for the steering wheel and the driver's cluster. We'll do the driver's cluster first, so let's just move in here. On the left is your miles an hour. On the very right, you have your power output in form of a graphical readout. This bit here will sort of go further into the blue depending on how far your foot's gone down. This little bit square here, that's the regenerative. I'll come back to that a little bit in a minute. That little square, that's the effort of the regenerative braking, which you can control from the paddles on the steering wheel. Again, we'll get to that in just a moment. And then on the right, also there, you have the miles of range. The range depends on your driving style. It also depends what drive mode you're in. I've had it in eco since I've picked it up. Haven't used sport or normal yet, but that does decrease the range by quite some distance. In on the very top, let's say, on the left there, you've got your speed limit readout. It uses a camera just behind the rear view mirror facing outwards that then picks up what the speed limit is, and then it can adjust all the cruise control and speed limiter automatically for you, which is quite good. Next to that, you've got your drive selector. So at the moment we're in park, but you can also be in drive, neutral or reverse. Middle there are the different screens that you can cycle through. We'll get through that in just a minute. On the right there, that will be your status of your lane keeping assist and cruise control. Right at the very bottom on the left, it says ready. That means the car is already ready to go. Next to that, the 88%, that's how much of a percentage of range I have left. This level 3 bit here, that's the effort of the regenerative braking, which again you can control from the steering wheel. We'll do that in just a moment. Eco at the bottom, it's because we are in eco mode, but you can be in different modes as well. The 9 degrees, obviously that's how cold it is outside. Right in the very middle, and then next to that is your miles per kilowatt. So obviously in a petrol or diesel car, we measure it in miles per gallon. Obviously you can't do that with an electric car, so it's done in miles per kilowatt. So far I've averaged about 2.8 miles per kilowatt, and you'd get that readout on there as well. It can also do a live readout, so depending on what you've got on, so for example, if you've got your seat heater on or the aircon on, obviously that will decrease the miles, and it will increase your consumption. So that's a nice little thing to have on. Auto hold, so it does have a auto hold handbrake, and then right at the very right at the bottom, it's telling me that my handbrake is on and that the car's only done 304 miles since it was built. Gotta go cycle through those different screens there, and you do that by using this half of the steering wheel. To change the screens, we press that button there, and then to change screens on that screen, we can then scroll through here. At the moment there is no other information that I can scroll through on the home screen. That's because obviously we're not actually moving yet. Press it again. This is these are your trip computer screens. If I scroll right to the very top, there we go. This top screen here resets every time you get into the car. It says I've only had the ignition on for 14 minutes since my last cycle, obviously because I got the ignition on to be able to do this video. Scrolling down, so after recharging, so since the last recharge, that's how many miles it's done, that's how many hours of running that the car's done in the middle, and at the bottom that is the miles per kilowatt, and then at the bottom that is all of your all of the averages put together, how many miles you've done altogether as well, which is quite nice to see. That is everything on that screen. Pressing that button there again, we get to your compass. When you have the navigation system on, the instructions will be from the infotainment screen will be sent to this screen, and all the directional instructions will appear on there. Press it again to the final screen. This is what I love. I love a car that has readouts and all sorts. This is the gauge, which tells you what the front and rear wheels are doing, how much power the front and rear wheels are delivering. This version is the all-wheel drive version. That said, you can force it into rear-wheel drive only. You can force it into all-wheel drive only, and we'll get to that when we go through the infotainment system there. But when you are driving, there's little arrows that comes out of the drive shaft there, and then you get a readout of sort of power output on the wheels there, which is quite nice. When you take your foot off the gas and when the regenerative braking comes on, the arrows go towards the drivetrain, which symbolises energy being put back into the motor via the regenerative system. I love that. Love gadgets like that, as I've said. Scrolling down, when the vehicle is in motion, you can see what your tyre pressures are, and then that is it for gauges on there. We'll put it back into the screen there. Zooming out, we have the steering wheel. I said it's a big steering wheel, but it's not inconvenient. You've got a nice sort of flat bottom there, nice sporty feel. It fits quite nicely in the hand, nice sort of ergonomic design there. as I said, the left of your steering wheel is to do with your lane keeping assist, the button to scroll through your driver screens, your adaptive cruise control, which you use by moving this up and down to set your speed, and then this button here controls how far forward you want to follow the car ahead. It's a smart adaptive cruise control, so it can bring you to a complete stop, and then when the vehicle ahead moves off in front of you, then the car will then pull off as well, and you don't need to do anything. This little button down here, this reminds, for those who've watched the video I did on the Mercedes A35 AMG, this button reminds me very much of that. This one you don't twist like you do in the Mercedes, instead you press it. This is your drive mode. So at the moment, where were we? We could see down there we're in Eco. If I press drive mode again, my little lights change and I'm now in normal mode. As you can see, my miles have decreased a bit based on how many miles I can do in this current mode. If I press mode again, we activate sport mode. You get red buttons on there, red bits on the dash. That forces all-wheel drive and the maximum torque and power output to all four wheels. But again, as you can see, putting it in sport mode does decrease your range. Oh, dropping my camera, guys, sorry about that. That does decrease the range on there. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to put it back into Eco just to get the maximum number of miles. On the right of the steering wheel, you've got your media controls, volume up and down on there. If you've got your phone connected to the Bluetooth audio, you can select between songs on there, or if you're connected to the radio, you can move between radios on there. Answer your calls and hang up your calls. And this little star is like a spare button, so if you press that, it will take us to the screen now, and you can basically select, let's do that so it goes to the EV screen. So when I press that button, it takes me to a screen which we'll get to when we get to that part of the car. Mode, if I press mode, that will show me what I can have also on that button, what sort of things I want to pop up. So I suppose if I put Bluetooth audio on, then what does mode do when there we go, when I press mode it turns the radio on, which I don't want at the moment. As I said, the paddles on the steering wheel aren't to change gear. There's no gears on an electric car. It's to change the regenerative braking effort. On the left is plus, so to increase the effort. And as you can see, zoom in. There we go. So at the moment we are on max. When it's on max, you engage one pedal drive mode, which actually works really well. I've been using it a lot today. You do need the brake to a tiny degree, but that is the max regen effort to the batteries, and you can bring the car to a complete stop just by using that. If you're driving around country roads as well, it's absolutely brilliant. You haven't got to touch the brakes by doing that. You just slowly come off of the throttle, and then the regen effort is so strong, it's as if you were pressing the brake pedal. When you do get the regen active, the brake lights do automatically come on. That was a question I was asking on my other videos. Yes, the brake lights automatically come on, so you're not going to get someone hopefully plow into the back of you when you're braking under regenerative efforts. To decrease it, you press the decrease button on the steering wheel there. So for example, level 3, level 2, level 1, and level 0 off. I'm going to put it back into 3 at the moment. So let's put that there. So that is everything on the front of the steering wheel. It's very, very light, to the point, it's electric steering, obviously, so you don't get the feedback like you would get from a car with hydraulic steering, but it is so light. I can move that with my pinky finger with no stress and effort at all. It really takes the stress out of driving, because this car with all the batteries in weighs just over up to just over 2 tons, but with the steering wheel it does not feel like you're driving a 2-ton car. At the back, let's just move the steering wheel out so we can actually see. This is your headlight and indicator stalk. You've got the full automatic LED headlight system, including the matrix lights in here. At the moment I've turned them off because it's the time of day where the lights would automatically be on. That's just to conserve power while I'm doing this video. Otherwise, you put the car in automatic. For the lights, you can see your lighting controls come up there. Push the lever back, you engage the automatic matrix lights. You have to manually engage the automatic high beam by pushing the stalk away from you. It doesn't come on automatically like what other cars do. Let's just turn that off for the moment. And obviously, now this is really cool. The cars that indicate. When you put the indicator on the Ioniq 6, look what happens on the dash. You get a blind spot camera that it checks your blind spot. You still get the little warning on the outside of the wing mirrors, but here you actually get a little camera, and obviously it's the same on the other side, so you can see what's in your blind spot, which again I absolutely love. On the right are your washer and wipers. Again, this has an automatic system, so it is on automatic that you can force it on. For example, if I move the stalk, there we go, we're on automatic now. You have it all the way up on 2, turn it off completely, and then this bit here you can change the speed of which you want those wipers to go. That's everything for the steering wheel and the driver's cluster. We're now going to move on to the main screen right here. Okay, so this is the home screen, which will greet you when you get into the car. You've got your date and your time on there. You've got a nice little graphical readout of your battery percentage, bit of a sort of a faded view into a map, and you've also got your range on there. To go into the screen, you just tap the screen like that. That brings you to your electric vehicle readout. You'll get various different sort of readouts on here when you are driving along. It will tell you where your nearest charger point is. Just give you some more. Let's tuck that in. Just gives you some basic information about the charging condition of the car. From there we can click the home screen, which brings us to a load of different icons. So you can swipe like that, starting with, I suppose, electric vehicle. So again, that's just another button that took us back to the screen we saw just a minute ago. Again, this gives you all your charging information. EV charge transfer, so you can set a minimum charge level to basically let the car get down to before you recharge it. That is everything actually on that screen for the moment. Map, so press map. That brings you to the navigation screen. It is actually quite a nice it is a nice system. I actually had it on whilst coming away from where I picked the car up from, and it's a really nice system. It's got all your lane assistance functions on there, which Google Maps and Waze has, so it is a nice system. You can still use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, although in this particular model it's wired only. They are planning on bringing out a software update for the car which will enable wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, but you know, that navigation system is really good on its own, so you know, I would actually still use that over Google Maps. Navigation, so that's just some more settings and quick access on there, so you can have your presets at the bottom. You can search for places via postcode or name. That's all on there. Phones, obviously when your phone's connected, mine isn't at the moment, but all of your contacts and call log will be on there, so you can just quickly scroll through and then use the hands-free system for your phone. Phone projection, so this is where again you'll need your CarPlay and Android Auto cable, but that's when you can then project whatever's on your phone screen onto your main screen there. So for example, I could be playing Angry Birds and my passenger could have a look at playing Angry Birds for whatever reason. Voice memos. So voice memos are stored until deleted. Okay, so you can record your voice if you've just thought of something, or if you need to go and get something. If you're, for example, you're on your way to the shop and you've written your shopping list, but then you forgot to put something on the shopping list. You just set yourself a voice reminder and you can do different voice memos on there. Or if you forgot the starting procedure for a car, or if you've forgotten how to access anything, you can record your voice and then listen to it back to know what to do, which is, I think, it's quite a clever feature. Climate controls, you do get the climate controls on the screen. You do also get them down below as buttons, which I quite like, because I'm all for gadgets and screens as well, but when it comes to climate, I also quite like physical buttons as well, just because a button, once you know where they are at the bottom, buttons don't, it sounds weird to say, but buttons don't move as much as when you're in motion and your fingers swerving as the car moves like that. It's sometimes it's easier for the controls down there, but we'll go through them anyway. So at the moment, obviously the climate system is actually off to conserve power, but I'll just turn it on, I suppose. There we go. So at the moment it's in sync mode, so it's got a dual zone climate control on there. Let's just turn the fan down a bit. There you go. So obviously when I scroll through the range, it changes the temperature on there. Heat, obviously an electric car, it's an electric heater, so you turn that on or off. I'm going to turn the aircon off as well. This button here, that directs exactly where you want the airflow to go. I'm going to have it on that setting because it means that the system doesn't all fog up. Driver only, so you can disable the dual system and just have your driver. Automatic settings, so that will, once you've adjusted a temperature, that will adjust the climate cabin temperatures exactly right. It will also automatically defog your windscreen and windows as well, which is very clever. You've got some shortcut buttons on there. So for example, to make the front warmer, I can also put my seat heater on. This is to your seat heaters. So you put your seat heaters on, heated steering wheel on. So what about the rear warmer? This car has rear seat heaters as standard, which I quite like. So that's your climate on there. Down here for your climate, it's basically a mock-up of what's on there. You've got your air recirculation button. You've got your rear screen, your rear windscreen heater. There is your maximum screen demist and de-ice. Fan settings on there. Where you want the actual, there you go, you're getting a readout down there as well of, where you want your airflow to go. And that button just takes you to your shortcut, which is there. Let's turn that off. There we go. Warmer, that is the button which I've just shown you, which takes you to the heated seats and heated steering wheel. Valet mode, so that links in with the app you can get for the phone. Basically it means you can have like lights and things on without having engines on, or if you're giving it to someone who's parking your car as a valet, you can set certain restrictions so the car can only be used for certain things. Quiet mode, so if you initiate quiet mode, that just pretty much, if you've got your radio or your MP3 files playing, you press that and it just quietens everything down. Quietens the artificial noise that comes through the speakers as well for the electric motors, which is quite good. Passenger airbag, you can turn that on or off. I'm going to leave it on because obviously it is a safety feature. Settings, this all comes out of screen. So here we have all of the settings for the car and the system settings. We're going to start off with vehicle settings. When you press vehicle settings, you have a quick access to all of what's down here. So you can see you've got driver convenience, driving safety, speed limit, door, which is the driver attention warning, and the parking safety. So just let's go on. Let's go on to driving convenience first. So starting at the top, smart cruise control. This here, you can change all of the reaction settings for the adaptive cruise control. At the moment, the distance is quite close to the car in front. Acceleration is, for example, if you're following a car at, let's say, 50 miles an hour when you're meant to be in a 70, car moves over. This setting here selects how fast you then want the car to accelerate up to the range of which you've set on the adaptive cruise control. And then the response, all my windows are doing their own thing. The response you can also change on there of how responsive you want that system to work. All of my windows are going down automatically. I'm really bored now. HDA. It's because I'm leaning on the. It's because I'm leaning on the buttons. So I thought the car was possessed. Then the windows were doing their own thing, but it's because I'm leaning on the buttons, which for the windows, which are down here, not on there. Anyway, back to whatever I was on about here. Right. Okay. So the motorway driving assist. I'll turn it on. So. Assistance for driving on motorways according to the set speed. So that is basically that's just a posh word of saying lane assist. Lane change assist, which is quite good. When you put your indicator on, if the lane keeping system is active, the car, based on the parking sensors as well, will then automatically change lanes for you. Without you really having to do anything at all, but obviously it will only do it if it doesn't detect anything next to you. Motorway auto speed change. So based on the sat nav, if you've got your cruise control on, but it detects quite a sharp bend in the road ahead, then the car will reduce speed to stop you under and oversteering all over the place. Speed limit. So speed limit assist, that will help the car maintain the speed at which the camera has picked up. Speed limit warning. So if you do go over the speed limit, then you will get flashing and bonging, and the car won't like you. So I'm going to put it into that mode there. Warning volume, that is just how high that you actually want the alerts to be. Driving safety priority. So the top one there, if you've got your radio banging out and then you get a safety message from the car, selecting this option means that when the car's giving the safety message, your audio and your radio will sort of quieten down while that car gives you that message. Haptic warnings, that's all the vibrations and that is the vibrations in the steering wheel, which will give you a physical warning. Driver attention warning, so that will give you a little hint if the car thinks you've been driving for too long and you need a break. Driving safety, forward safety, so that is the automatic emergency braking if the car thinks that you are too close to the car ahead, or if it thinks that a collision is imminent. Forward warning timing, so here you can select the delay of which that warning is delivered. Forward cross traffic safety, so if you've pulled up, for example, this is quite a nice example here actually. If you're at a crossroad, but I don't know, there's like a lamp post here which is obscuring your view. I'm still leaning on the buttons. There we go. The car will give you a warning if there's a car coming, which you probably can't see. It will do that left and right. Forward, side and safety. So in addition to the little camera display you get there, you do get warnings which appear on the dashboard. At the moment we've got the what do you call it, heads up display. There we go. The heads up display reading that will all come out on there as well. Oh, I think we've fast forwarded to something down here. Lane safety. Again, that is your that's basically the lane keeping system. If it thinks that you're veering away or over the line, it will give you some steering assistance to put you back. Blind spots. So again, that is the blind spot warning. Blind spot view monitor, that enables or disables the camera readout on there. Parking safety. So at the moment it's in surround view when you reverse, so you get a nice 180-degree view behind. At the moment this setting is off, but auto parking distance. So if you're going at a really low speed, for example, if you're just creeping along in traffic, then the front parking sensors or the rear parking sensors will enable to give you an idea of how close you are to the car in front. Forward and side safety. So again, that is your full. So for example, if it's off, you just get your rear closeness gauge, as I'm going to call it. If you put it back on, that's the 360-degree system on there, so it will tell you how far to the left you are to something, how far to the right, how far forward, how far back. Rear safety, again, that is the 180-degree system on there. Rear cross traffic safety, so when you are backing out of a space you can't see properly, the car will detect cars coming either way and it can brake the car for you as well. Let's go back. We've been through all of those separate bits here now by going through the menu that we saw on the side. Drive modes. So this is a more in-depth screen which you can customize your drive mode exactly how you want. So you've got the quick drive modes here, or you can completely, like on a BMW and Audis and things, you can completely change the dynamics of the car. So at the moment, let's go on to here. So at the moment, when eco mode is enabled, it puts the car into snow mode, which means it reduces the torque and the power output to the wheels, delays throttle response as well to make it nice and smooth. I'm going to put it into my drive mode, so you can, there we go, so you can now completely change the dynamics of the car. So power output, you can have minimized, standard or maximized. Acceleration sensitivity, so if you want an instant throttle response, you have it on high. Moderate is just like you were driving a normal car. Or low is you put your foot down and nothing really happens until a lot later. Steering wheel, so you can change how agile you want the steering. Normal, it is in its lightest, let's say, steering mode. If I put it into sport, it's a teeny bit stiffer, and it gives you that little bit more sensation that actually the steering wheel is connected to the front wheel. So I'm going to put it back into normal. And then the drivetrain, so this is going back to what I said earlier, where you can force the car into two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. I'm starting to steam up a bit, so I'm going to open the window a bit. At the moment, it's automatic all-wheel drive. So when you're pulling off, all wheels are being driven. If once you've got up to speed, or if you're cruising, then it will go back into its rear-wheel drive setting, which of course conserves energy, means that you're not using as much power because you're only using two wheels, not four. You can force it into all-wheel drive all the time, which, you know, if you live in, I suppose if you live in a snowy, wet, icy country, then maybe forcing it into all-wheel drive all the time is something that you will want. When you put the car into sport mode, it also forces it into all-wheel drive. Obviously, when you've got all four wheels driven, you've got maximum acceleration through all four wheels. But here you can select what you want. Auto for four-wheel drive works quite well. drive mode change alert, so that's just a audible warning when you do change drive mode. And then eco mode, climate control, when that is active, when you're in eco, the climate control settings will be reduced to the point where they don't turn off completely, but they're just reduced to make sure they don't use as much consumption as they would be in normal driving modes. Active sound design, so this is the artificial noise that gets played into the cabin when you're driving along. I've got it off because I personally don't really get on with it. Others do. Excuse me. In enhanced mode, it's as loud as it is in the cabin. You really hear, it just, that high pitched electric whine that you get on electric cars. Normal is, well, normal. Minimize, you hear it, but only adjust. Obviously off is then off. Heads up display. So in this vehicle, you do get a heads up display, which you might just about, if it's not going to focus, but there, you can change all your settings on here, so you can display how high you want it, how low you want it. I need to actually, there we go. Now I've lowered it, I can see it a bit better. Brightness, control how bright you want that head-up display as well. And then content selection, there we go, you can select what info you want displayed on the heads-up display. Cluster. So the cluster is this, that is the infotainment screen and the front digital driver's display. Brightness, you can select how bright, how dim you want. Okay, I'm going to have it on sort of about there, so it's getting a little bit darker. That one's on there. Brightness. Okay, yeah. So whilst you're on brightness, you get even more settings on here. There's loads of sub menus in menus, which, if technology isn't your strongest point, might get a little bit confusing. But if you're like me and you like a complete nerd fest in a car, then this is absolutely fine. Parking distance warnings. This is to do with all your rear view camera. Like you get in most cars, you get a little grid which gives you an idea of how far back or towards something you are. And then when you turn the steering wheel, it will give you the direction of which the car's, or the path that the car's actually taking, so you get an idea how much or how little steering input you actually need. I'm not going to go through all those because that is basically the long version of what I've just explained. Blue light filter. Oh, okay, yeah. So the blue light. Ooh. So that just changes the sort of the sort of like, I don't know what to call it, the wash of the screen to make it a little bit easier on the eyes at night. And then the rest is just not active at the moment. Going down to cluster theme. Here you can have different themes. At the moment it's linked to drive mode. Content selection. This is all the things that you can, well, some more things that you can select to appear on your screen there. Climate, more climate settings. Don't really need to go too much into there because we've already gone into it, but things like your automatic ventilation, once the car's actually in auto mode, it will do absolutely everything, so it will make sure the humidity is exactly right. Like I said, it automatically defrosts and defogs your screens and your windows. Seat, so easy seats. So when you turn the car off, the seat will go all the way back to enable easy in and out of the car, which is quite a handy feature. Lights, ambient lighting. So on the Ioniq 6s, you can have dual lighting, so you can select one bit to be a different colour than the other. I haven't actually found how you do that on the first edition, but either way, brightness, it's on full brightness at the moment. Colours, you've got a range of preset colours. At the moment I've got mine on this nice sort of yellowy orange, but if you go into set custom colour, then you've got a whole wheel of various colours, which then obviously changes which then changes, it's not changing, but you get the idea. Let's go back. If not, if you don't want a pre-selected color, then you can select how you want the ambient lighting to respond according to what you're doing with it. So link to drive mode. So if you're in eco, it goes all green. If you're in normal, I think it goes white, and then if you're in sport, it goes red. Dimmed in the dark, so you can dim the ambient lighting, but the ambient lighting looks sick. Yeah, it looks sick in the dark, as it is. Oh my god, there's so many. There's the settings we've just talked through. These are your indicator settings. So obviously you can put the indicator all the way down, which forces the indicator on until it self-cancels. Or for example, if you're just changing lane, you tap it down once. No, you don't. Yeah, you do. Tap it down once like that. And on this occasion, it blinks 3 times. So you can have it flash 7 or 5, or you can have that feature off all the time. Welcome mirror lights. That is the puddle lights for the car, which come out of the bottom of the wind mirrors, so you can actually see if there's any, well, puddles, or if a dog's on a turd by the side of your door, you can actually see it. Travel mode. I haven't actually seen what this does yet. Reduction of the headlight range to prevent glare. Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, that will further adjust. Oh, I'm in out of focus there. That will further adjust the light settings. I'm going to turn that off for the moment, just so it's bright and I can actually see it. Intelligent front lighting. So again, that's quite a nice graphic actually. So again, that is an idea of the light changing the beam pattern to fit around the car, not into the driver's face. I'm going to have that set at 15 mile an hour, which is when the speed of which that will activate. Door. So auto lock is when the car's doors will lock when you go over a certain speed. That's handy if you've got kids in the car. Yes, it's got child locks, but that's an extra safeguard as well. Stops anyone trying to carjack you, and it stops yourself trying to open the door when the car's in motion. Auto unlock. Yes, there we go. Yes, so you can when you approach the car, it will unlock automatically. You can select how much you want the boot to open. Smart trunk. So when the key is near it, the boot's meant to open, although I haven't managed to get it to do that yet. That's everything on there. Convenience. There's just a couple of settings on there. So rear occupant alert, so that will tell you if there's anyone in the back, and also tell you if they're wearing a seat belt. Advanced anti-theft, that's to do with all your alarm system, and passenger airbag, you can turn that on or off. That's it for vehicle settings. Electric vehicle settings. So when it's connected to a DC charging, when the battery's at 100%, it will automatically turn off. Same again with an AC charger. If it's at 100%, the charger automatically turns off. Charging current. So at the moment it's a maximum, which allows for the shortest charge times. That said, you do need to bear in mind, if you continuously super rapid fast charge a car, the battery will depreciate faster than if you were to recharge it gently. So if you know you're not going to use the car for a good 10 hours or 12 hours while you're sleeping, I'd encourage to put it maybe reduced, or not necessarily minimum, but reduced, which, okay, it takes a few hours longer to charge your car, but you're doing it at a more gentle pace for the batteries. Don't know how much replacement batteries for this thing. I presume it's a hell of a lot, probably about 16 grand, based on what they are for Teslas. Battery conditioning mode, so that is just to help prolong the life of the battery. Utility mode, so you can actually there's a socket activating utility mode. hasn't done anything. But basically you can turn that on or off, and you can, there's a little plug socket at the back down there which actually locks. Well, I don't know how you unlock it, but basically you can plug in an Xbox or like a electric grill or anything like that, which is pretty cool. There we go. Navigation settings, it's basically similar to what we've already gone through. You can change, always show the vehicle speed on the map. Traffic information, I don't know why you'd have that off. Guidance, route options, it gives you various fastest, most economic. You can change your alerts, it gives you on there. Theme and layout we've done. Display, yeah, that just takes us back to one of the settings we already talked about. Sound, so this has the Bose premium sound system in here. It's very good. I think it in terms of premium sound systems, I think Bang & Olufsen is definitely up there on top, followed by Bose, followed by, I think, is it Harman, something like that. Please correct me in the comments if I've said that wrong. Dynamic speed compensation, so monitoring the vehicle speed, and yes, so when that is active, so obviously the faster you go, the more noise you actually get. This system here increases the volume of your audio to help compensate for the louder road noise. Volume limitation on startup, so when you first start off, like for example, if you've just got in the car at 5 o'clock in the morning, it will lower the volume of all your systems, so you can have a sort of a quieter departure so you don't wake your neighbours up. Position, there we go, Bose. Position, it's dead in the centre for the best audio experience. Equalizer, so that's actually changed from earlier on, so I'm going to have it bassy, mid-range, about +1, and then I don't want to have that about 5, which is good. Driving guidance, so these are all your navigation alerts as well, which I don't need to actually mess around with. Radio noise control. Okay, yes, that's to do with all frequencies and things. I'm not going to go into that because I don't know why you'd play with that. And then adaptive sound, that's what we were talking about earlier, about the artificial sound that's played in the car. We're getting through it, guys. Button, here we go. So this is where you can change what the little star button does, which we went through at the beginning of the video. Phone connection, that's your CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth. Blue Link is to do with the app you get for the car, which you can control things. You know, you can remotely start the car. You can check your tire pressures. You can track your vehicle. You can turn the lights on and blah blah blah. Profile, you can have different profiles for the car. So let's say you share the car with a few people. Those people can have a profile, and then they log into their profile. It changes all the seats automatically. It saves all their settings. You haven't got to worry about changing everything every time you get into the car. General settings, these are all again just system settings. Tells you all your software and model information there. Your system information, memory. You know, there's a few QR codes in here to mess about with that will give you various information. We scan them. Date and time, language, keyboard, self-explanatory. Units, you know, we're in you know, here in Britain we use miles, Celsius and PSI. Media settings, yeah, so when you start the car up you can have the radio off completely so it doesn't blare out in your face. Oh, then that's default. I'm not gonna play with that. That is everything for settings. Scroll along, and then here you've got your quick shortcuts to your radio. So your radio on there at the moment is on BBC Radio 2. Let's have it on Radio 1 and then turn that off. What's it done? Ah, there we go. Media, so at the moment my Bluetooth is connected, but when you put your media on, all your Bluetooth songs will appear on there. Hyundai Live, I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. So it tells you where the nearest parking is and the nearest charging stations and where the traffic is, I suppose. Notice if you get like a text message or an email or something, that comes up on there. And then manual, if you scan that little QR code, you get a digital owner's manual, which on others isn't downloaded to the car. You have to scan the QR code to be able to get that. That is everything on that screen, guys. There was a fair amount to talk to you on there because there is a lot of stuff on there. We're going to zoom out. It's getting a little bit dark now, guys, but we're now going to go through a quick interior tour. So we've seen in the middle there, you've got the nice ambient lighting strip that runs all along there. Now it's getting darker. You can see you have all the ambient lighting in the doors. In the back of the car, the ambient lighting is also in there. You fit well lights. In this car, you do not get a glove box. You get a glove drawer. Look at that. I've never seen a glove drawer. I like that. The interior in here feels very premium. Everything from these little bits here. On the premium spec cars, you don't get door mirrors, you get cameras, and then in these little bits here, you get camera screens for your door mirrors, which is quite cool. Nice, I think they're aluminium door handles, which is very nice. Down here are all of your mirror controls, handbrake, stability control. You can also open your boot, and you can also open the charger flap. So I'm going to open the door. So as you can see on the side of the car, nothing's open. If I press the charger flap, oh, there we go. It's the small things that amuse me. So that is all. And obviously Bose, your premium system there. It says Bose on there. You got sort of a speaker sub which bounces audio of the windscreen. First edition mats, some nice, really comfortable seats. Actually, got all the lumbar support and everything on there. Down here, you've got a standard USB socket, wireless charging pad, which is a fast charger. Obviously, though, if you do use that, you do decrease your range. More pixel lights there, so when your phone is on, that will come up to tell you that your phone is actually being charged. 2 cup holders, very, very good. Down here, so like on the Alpine A110, which I had on test a couple of weeks ago, all your window controls are down here. So you've got your 2 front windows, your 2 rear windows, lock and unlock the car, auto hold on and off, and your window lock there as well. Here, I've just dropped something down there. You have your quite deep storage. You've got 2 USB-Cs fast charge down there. Little space to put your little key. Up here are your controls for. Oh, I like that. Nice sort of ring light on there, which is quite nice. Does it do it for? Oh, and you get that as well. Lovely. I like that. Yeah, that turns the lights on for all the car. Up here is your controls for your sunroof. One of the features I quite like, zoom out a bit, on these seats is you can annoy your passenger, and you, as well as using the buttons which are down the side of the seat, you've got buttons on the side, so you can, look at that. That's cool. So you can actually annoy your passenger and move the seat out of the way, which is quite cool. I guess if you've had a passenger in the car who's quite short and their seat's like here and you can't see out like me, you can then control the seat without having to bend over and crash the car and go down there. Back of the car, very, very smart indeed. It's got a completely flat floor because it is an electric car. That little bit down there right in the middle, that is your, in the UK, it's your 3-pin 240, or is it 230 volt socket. Can't quite reach it, but you get the pull down armrest with the cup holders in the middle, and then your light up there as well. Down there, 2 vents, 2 more USB-Cs fast charging. That is everything in the interior, guys. I'm gonna move my seat back a bit. Thank you very much for watching this video. Again, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Back with another car very soon, but for now guys, thank you very much and cheerio.